r/ask Reddit. What's something you've gotten away with as a kid because they're young and they don't know what they're doing, when really you knew exactly what you were doing? In the first 2 years of elementary school, I had to take the public bus 2 times a week to get to my school. So my mom gave me some money for the ticket each morning I needed it. What you didn't know, I never once bought a ticket and kept all the money. 2 times I got caught but pretended I didn't even know how to buy one, and they let me go because I was so young. I was one of those kids who was smart but had very little common sense, so doing these types of things was not unusual for me. I was in Pop Warner football and I absolutely hated our assistant coach. He was the quarterback's dad and was a complete a-hole to me. He was also the center. Every time something went wrong, it was my fault. Always making me run laps, picking on me for having a squeaky voice and being overweight. With the benefit of hindsight, I have no idea what was wrong with this guy to be so crappy to a kid. Anyway, we went to the playoffs but lost our last game to a much better team. I had seen people dump Gatorade on the coach on TV and thought, F it, now is my chance. He was wearing a white polo with khakis and I dumped a whole jug of red Kool-Aid on him. I smiled and shouted, "Great season, coach!" He was mad but completely shocked too. My dad ran up quietly but sternly asking, "What are you doing?" And I just said that I saw people do it on TV. The coach laughed and shook his head. He patted me on the shoulder and said, "People really only do that when you win, but I understand how you got confused." The whole team went to dinner after that. Dude had to spend the rest of his evening in sticky pink clothes. It was the first time I ever felt like I got away with anything. Parents had weird schedules, so for school, my mom usually packed my lunch in the evening and my dad would give me lunch money in the morning, not knowing that I already had lunch packed. I continued that scam for a couple of months until I had enough money to buy a Wii. Thus, when my parents noticed that they've been tricked by a 7-year-old, but of course they didn't think I did it on purpose. I don't know if this fit because I don't remember it at all, but when I was around 3 or so, my 13-year-old sister kept getting blamed for eating all the ice cream and would deny it, which made my mom mad. Then one day, my mom rounds the corner into the kitchen, then quickly pulls back to watch little old me drag a chair from the table over the freezer, grab a spoon from the drawer, open said freezer, and dive into the ice cream. Finish and put the ice cream back, close the freezer, lick the spoon, and put it back into the drawer, and pull the chair back over to the table. It was almost the perfect crime. I threw a water balloon during a birthday party at my friend's dad that I didn't like. Made him spill his drink. I was like 5 or 6. I was on a trampoline and my older brother kept pushing me whenever I tried to stand up. He repeatedly did this about 7 times. He pushed me all the way to the springs. I tried to stand up again and he pushed me off the trampoline. Because of the way he pushed me, I was falling head first, so I reached above my head to protect my head from the impact. I broke my fall with my arm, and I broke my arm with my fall. Compound fracture, bone pierced the skin, although it popped back in immediately after stabbing my skin, so I never got to see the bone. He told our parents that I was about to fall off the trampoline, and he tried to catch me, but he accidentally pushed me. And my parents thought, he tried his best, but he's just a kid, so at least he tried to catch him. I stole a ball from a thrift store. I said I thought it was just someone's lost ball since it was obviously not a brand new item in the store. However, I fully understood the concept of a thrift store. I was the victim of this. We were both kids, but I was the older one. I had my head out of the window and my cousin rolled it up, choking me till I was teary. I was livid, but her mom didn't punish or discipline her because she's just a kid. This reminds me of something I actually went through. There was a 6-year-old who used to step on me and my sister's feet and do it with a twist, so that it hurt more. Then, when we got mad at him, he would say, "I'm little," with a smile. I used to wait until my mom showed up at the babysitter's to pick us up to ask for snacks. She would never give them to me throughout the day, but she wouldn't say no when my mom was standing there. Zipped my sister in a suitcase and sent her down the stairs. Nothing happened, and she was a bit traumatized, but no physical injury on my part. Hers too, I guess. I used a lot of things in the pantry to make a cake. I had no idea what I was doing, and I knew very well that it wasn't going to turn out any good. I made a mess with flour and sugar and chocolate and everything I could find that sounded cakey. My cake was a disgusting blob with sprinkles and jam on top. I was kind of proud, but I knew I had messed up. I even ate some of it. They made me clean, but I was making it worse, so I got help. My girlfriend works in a kindergarten. The boys are in love with her, so first they started asking her things like, "Do you want to go out?" and "Do you want to be my girlfriend?" And then it evolved to them slapping her in the butt every time they went past her. They are 6-year-olds. I cut the tip of my finger with those small grooming scissors because I wanted to see if it would hurt. It didn't. I just freaked out at the amount of blood coming out of my finger. Scared the heck out of my teenage brother at the time. When I was really little, a year or so into using the bathroom, mostly on my own, I decided I wanted to use the potty again this time, but only the top part was there, just the seat, no bowl to be found. Now, I don't exactly recall what my motivation was, but I definitely remember I knew exactly what was going to happen and decided the lack of bowl wouldn't be stopping this train, and how hard it was not to laugh and keep acting confused as my mom was patiently explaining how it worked, and did I forget how to use the toilet while there was a puddle on the floor, like I had made some honest mistake. My grandfather was always grumpy and didn't like kids, so as he climbed the stairs, I'd pinch him on the butt with a pair of Dad's needle-nose pliers. He'd yell, "Get your butt on out of here, you darn little kid," but my mum would smile and say, "He's just being cute." Pretty much anything as long as the house did not burn down. I am the youngest of 9 kids, and by the time my parents got to me, they were just too darn tired. One time, I became a black market candy shop owner at school. Of course, my parents thought I didn't know better, but I had a whole business plan. Eventually, I made $400, and my parents realized that I was becoming some sort of weird hustler that knew too much financially. I lost the touch as I got older though. When I was maybe 3 to 4 years old, I remember going to the fridge for a snack at maybe 3 in the morning. I accidentally knocked a whole carton of eggs onto the floor. I think I kind of just pushed the broken eggs and stuff under the fridge with a paper towel. All of it. It was hidden pretty well if I remember correctly. I don't remember any aftermath from the incident. Weird. When my older brother and I were young teens, he kept getting yelled at for watching porn on the family PC. Our Catholic mom would check the browser history, find it, and yell at him and ground him. He insisted it wasn't him. He would then get punished for lying, because it wasn't mom or dad, and it couldn't be the young, innocent, straight A Catholic high school attending sister. A few years ago, I fessed up that I, at the time, the 14-year-old Catholic schoolgirl, would Google porn and click links to fill up the browser history, and then go on my merry way. Every time my brother peeved me off. Didn't even watch it. I just Googled some boobs and then moved on, because I knew she checked our browser history every night because that's just what she did. We did not get along as teens. He peeved me off a lot, so he got yelled at by our mom a lot for porn use. Actually, this reminds me of something I didn't get away with. I was about 4 years old at the time. My grandma had some rare flower that only bloomed every few years in her garden, and I heard her telling my parents how excited she was about it. So I picked it for her, thinking I was doing a nice thing. My a-hole dad spanked me for it. I didn't even stop to think that I was trying to be nice. When I was 10 years old, my parents pulled me aside one day and decided to break the news to me that Santa wasn't real, and they were the ones that bought me the presents under the tree each Christmas. They held off as long as they could to tell me and thought that I was old enough to know the truth. I could tell it was so hard for them because they thought they were breaking a kid's heart. The thing is that I knew for a couple of years already. I just kept pretending because I like getting presents. Throwing my brother with a swing ball bat. It was an honest accident as my hands were sweaty. 2 weeks later, he threw me with the bat because he was angry at me about something and told my mom it slipped, as mine did. And what do you know? I got 4 stitches, and he got no punishment. He laughed at me after coming back from the hospital. That mother-father knew what he was doing. Still love him to bits, and we are super close today. Mooning some lady on the highway when I was like 7. I just watched some funny movie where there was some mooning joke. So there I am in the backseat of my mom's car. We're going to meet up with the rest of the family for dinner at Sizzlers. Lo and behold, my idiot 7-year-old self thinks it would be funny to moon someone in slow traffic. My victim followed my mom off the highway to the Sizzler and approached her. When she got out of the car, "Do you know what your son just did?" To which my mom told the lady to lighten up and told her to get lost. My granddad lived with us when I was growing up, and he was really a very mean-spirited old man and talked awful to most everyone, including my sister and me. Once his brother, who lived a few states away, parked his RV in our yard for a few months, and one time I overheard my granddad say he wished he'd moved that ugly thing out of our yard. Well, when his brother came to visit, I repeated this in front of both my granddad and my great uncle, and it embarrassed my granddad so bad. I left the room acting like I was just being a kid who accidentally let something slip. But I knew what I was doing the whole time. I wrote on the wall 3 big C's in crayon when I was about 3 or 4. My names start with C, so it looked like my sister was trying to get me in trouble. Was it me who got yelled at that night? Not me, but when I and my brother were jumping on an air mattress, He pushed me off and I fell onto the corner of a table. Even I'm really not sure if he really did it by accident or just pretended to. But I had to get stitches, and to this day, a chunk of my eyebrow is still missing. This might not quite fit, but when I was in kindergarten, I knew how to read and thought it would be funny if I pretended in class that I didn't know how to read. I had my teacher completely fooled, and it only unraveled when my mom had a parent-teacher conference and my teacher tried to tell her I was having trouble learning my letters. My mom thought it was hilarious. I was 5. It was the middle of the night at my auntie's house and I needed to go to the bathroom. What do? I pee in the hallway. My aunt, cousins, and my mom come home to find me dropping a gallon on the floor, and the best excuse I come up with is I was sleepwalking. I think to this day, everyone buys it. Not sure if I got caught, but no one ever covered up. When on holidays, I used to walk around the pool a lot just to get close to the topless sunbathers because I loved boobies. I did this when I was 6, 8, and 10, but think from the 8 or 12, it would have been a bit obvious, so became more covert. Thanks for making it to the end, guys. Hope you enjoyed. If you want more stories like this or something completely different, just let me know in the comments.